Alright, so I got the bike on the stand now. If we go around to the side here, yeah, so our sight glass is actually down here. Let's see if I can get that frame. You can kind of see it there. It's already pretty black. This bike has like 55 miles on it. The first oil change isn't until 600 miles, but I'm just gonna do it for peace of mind. Whatever. Or I'm sorry, an Allen socket. So I'm gonna put this under here. The bike's already warm, so I'm just gonna crack this loose. That was pretty tight. So I'm trying not to get burned here. And one thing I like to do, of course, everything is opposite from the Aprilia. I like to crack the fill plug. So the fill plug is on the other side, of course. But I like to take that off. Basically, it just prevents like a vacuum lock. I don't know how true that is, but it's just good practice, you know. So pull that off. The engine oil looks pretty good, actually. I will say though, there's a washer that stayed behind. So and I did get a new washer from the dealership, just because I might not change it this time, but I'll change it maybe in the future. Let's see here. You can see that. It looks pretty clean, honestly. But like I said, I want to get that assembly lube out of there, put new oil in. Let's see, it's not hot. And any kind of metal fragments or debris, clutch material, that kind of stuff that broke down during the initial, miles, get that out of the system. It's not going to be circulating through the engine. So, yeah, like I said, take out the plug on the other side, prevents like a vacuum lock, so all the oil will drain out. Also warm up the bike a little bit, helps drain it a little bit quicker. So what I'm going to use to get this filter off, and there's a lot of things you can use, but this is actually really handy. It's like this flexible funnel. It's called Forma funnel. But what you can do is just kind of put this in here, like so. Obviously form it to the shape of a funnel. Probably don't want to do this when the engine is super hot, because you'll probably burn this thing. But the engine was just warm. So I'm going to see if I can crack this loose by hand. Probably can't. Yeah, no. So I've just got a filter strap here to take it loose. I may not, no, I don't think so. I think this is too big. And this is the smallest one I have. Maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's too big. Yeah. So this is too big. It's okay. I've also got these. These will work. You kind of mangle the filter, but you get it loose. Wow, that's tight. Okay. So I'm just going to break it free, and then I'll undo the rest by hand. But the reason why you want to use the Forma funnel or something similar is because you don't want to get oil in the exhaust. Because obviously whenever the exhaust heats up, it's going to smell really bad, and it might stain your exhaust. So man, this thing is tight. So that works really good using the Forma funnel there. Highly recommend that. I mangled the oil filter using those pliers, but it's okay. So we'll let that drain. Here's the little washer I was talking about. I have a spare one of these. This actually isn't a crush washer, but you know, I just like to have it just in case. Here's a new filter. That old washer stayed behind on the oil pan, so I'll have to remember to get that off. But it's nice to have this as a spare, just because maybe if you drop that in the oil pan and you don't know it, and maybe you put the drain plug in and then it's leaking and you realize you don't have that, you know, at least you have a spare somewhere in your toolbox or whatever. So I've got Llaman Lube 1550. This is what they recommend. So I like to use this stuff just because the bike has a year warranty, and at least if I go to the dealership and buy their oil, you know, there's some kind of record that I was using, you know, the preferred engine oil. God forbid, you know, I have a mechanical failure, so at least I can say I was using your filters and your oil, that kind of thing. This is full synthetic. I know a lot of people say stuff about using fully synthetic oil, but I don't know, they say use conventional at this oil change and switch over to synthetic and this additive and all this stuff, but I'm just going to use what the dealer recommends, because they're going to be the ones to fix the bike if something breaks under warranty. So I go ahead. Of course, this bike takes 4.3 quarts with a filter change, which I've never changed oil in anything without changing the filter also. Maybe because I'm just like that and you don't have to, but I always like to. I mean, this filter is $12, which is kind of expensive, but like cars and stuff, you can get filters for pretty cheap. But I'm just gonna pour a little bit in here. Okay, by a little bit I mean a lot actually. And then I'm gonna put some on this O-ring, which is kind of like folklore. Who knows how much truth there is to actually lubing up the O-ring. I will wipe this clean. Probably should be using like a... Oh, there goes the former funnel. Great. It's okay. It's already done. Okay. I don't want to get it on the exhaust though when I put this on, so... I'm just going to spin that on and then hand tighten it. Don't need to get it really tight. Just hand tight. So that's good there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the drain plug. This is that washer I was talking about that stayed behind. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the drain plug. Here's the drain plug. See if you can see that. So that is a Allen head instead of a normal hex bolt. I don't really like that, but it is what it is. I doubt I'll change it. So like I was saying earlier about stripping the drain plug out and why I like to do oil changes myself, not only are you going to know peace of mind that you did it and you did it right, but you're also probably not going to strip out the drain plug because you'll know to use the right socket. So this is a 6mm Allen socket that I'm using. It fits perfect, so no chances of stripping that out. And you really don't have to do this, but I'm going to do it just because I can and I have it. I'm going to go ahead and torque this down with this fancy torque wrench. The torque spec, I'm sorry, for the drain plug is 17 foot-pounds. You don't have to have a digital torque wrench. You can just use a normal click or like beam style with the dial. I like those too. Those are pretty accurate. I'm not really a big fan of the click type torque wrenches, just because sometimes you can't always hear it or know. Like if you're at, especially this is only 17 foot-pounds, it's not really a lot, so you might not hear it click. You just gotta feel the wrench like break away. So if you're, you know, new or you don't know what you're doing, you could strip it out. So we're at 17 foot-pounds. Go ahead and tighten this up. And this wrench is gonna beep at me. That's it. That was like nothing. 17 and a half. Half of a foot-pound. So, not very tight. If you're gonna do it by hand, make sure you don't overdo it. So I ran the bike for a little bit, and now I'm gonna check the oil level again. And as you can see, it's a little bit low on the sight glass. So that's not where it was when I got the bike. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up just to where it gets about 3/4 of the way up the sight glass. Yeah, that's basically it for the 50-mile oil change. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video, and hopefully I'll have some more coming out pretty soon. Thanks.